The role of an elected official is often to protect people from themselves. For instance, in the 1900s, the U.S. Congress decided to make a nationwide ban on alcohol. Of course, people were furious about the prohibition, but what the government saw was a country full of people who made poor decisions. There were people who would drink and go home and abuse their wives, kids, etc. The U.S. Congress started the prohibition because people obviously couldn't make decisions for themselves. I think the government should have put more laws in place, sort of like today's alcohol laws. Today, some people abuse alcohol and drugs. The government made drugs illegal to protect people from themselves because people abuse them. About 54.2 million people are in rehab right now due to drugs and alcohol.
Prohibition, established by the 18th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution in 1919, was a failed attempt to make it illegal to produce, sell, and transport alcoholic beverages.
The 18th Amendment was a law stating that after 1 year from the ratification of this article, the manufacture, sale, or transportation of intoxicating liquors within, the importation thereof into or the exportation thereof from the United States and all territory subject to the jurisdiction thereof for beverage purposes is hereby prohibited.
Women's Christian Temperance Union, also known as the Women's Crusade, started in 1873 because women wanted to stop all drinking. They tried to help people stop drinking by opening a place for them to go and get off alcohol, putting drinking fountains in public places, and writing textbooks for children warning them about the effects of alcohol. After a while, people started to listen, and some saloons began to close. Still, many saloons were open because people still wanted to drink. Carrie Nation was an old woman who was so disgusted by their actions that she traveled town to town to destroy the saloons with an axe. Eventually, women had to stop protesting and go home and take care of their families.
Wayne Wheeler was the leader of an anti-saloon league, which was another group of protesters against alcohol. Wayne Wheeler and his group used people's fears to push his movement against alcohol and lied to everyone in different ways. He introduced the 18th Amendment to the U.S. Congress in 1917, and it became a law in 1919. After it was confirmed, people began to realize they gave up their rights to drink because they were afraid of Wayne Wheeler.
The Volstead Act was passed the same year to give instructions of whose responsibility it was to enforce it. U.S. Marshals enforced the law until the Treasury gave the job to the Bureau of Prohibition in 1929. Americans did not like that the rights to drink liquor had been taken away, and soon millions were drinking illegally, which led to the illegal making, selling, and transporting of it.
Even though the American Constitution made it illegal to sell, buy, or consume alcohol, the law was difficult to enforce. During Prohibition, there was a large increase of illegal alcohol production. Illegal alcohol was made by bootleggers. They would smuggle alcohol from different countries such as Canada, Mexico, and the Caribbean islands. Alcohol would be smuggled by many different forms of transportation. People would use trucks, boats, trains, planes, and some people smuggled alcohol by foot. Some people were crazy and smuggled alcohol in prosthetic legs, coconuts, hollowed out canes, and even garden hoses. And people also get alcohol in speakeasies. Speakeasies were places where people would go to get alcohol. The people would disguise the places to look like real buildings. But on the inside, you would tell someone a password and they would let you in through a secret passageway. Al Capone had a huge bootlegging operation and was a Chicago gangster. Elliot Ness was a dry prohibition agent from Chicago and picked people to work for him. They were known as the Untouchables. The Untouchables worked very hard to arrest Al Capone, and eventually did. Although the Untouchables had some success in enforcing prohibition, organized crime continued to grow nationwide. This was because the public still wanted to drink, and most of the law enforcement was corrupt.
lost their jobs and money in 1929 because the stock market crashed. This caused the beginning of the Great Depression and made the prohibition of liquor even less popular and more corrupt. The enforcement of the law was not working. Franklin Roosevelt became president over Hoover because he said he would end prohibition. The nationwide ban on alcohol was not working, and the 21st Amendment repealed the 18th Amendment on December 5th, 1933.
To summarize everything, Prohibition became a national movement to get rid of alcohol in the 20th century, but the temperance movement had been trying to do this since the 1820s. The temperance groups felt it was their responsibility because they thought alcohol was ruining people and their families. In 1919, the 18th Amendment was signed by Congress, which prohibited the illegal making, selling, and transporting of alcohol.
The nationwide ban on alcohol was a failed attempt to have people stop drinking, and the 21st Amendment repealed the 18th Amendment on December 5th, 1933. The 21st Amendment was put in place because people did not follow the law. There was so much illegal drinking going on, the government, throughout the Prohibition, was practically pointless, so they made the 21st Amendment that repealed the 18th Amendment.